It can be easier to understand Medicare if we break it down into pieces, and there are a number of pieces. There's Part A, Part B, Part D, Part C, Medicare supplement plans. There's a whole bunch of things that we need to understand, but if we break them down kind of individually, it can make it a little bit easier to understand. And it's important really to understand each piece because they all play a part in how things are going to work, how things are going to get paid, what's going to be covered, all that kind of stuff just makes it easier to understand when we break it down. So right now, I'm going to talk about Medicare Part B. And there's enough in Medicare Part B that we need to create its own space and understand how it works, how it pays, what your options are, things like that. If you stay with me till the end, I'll show you an easy way to sign up and make sure that it takes effect when we want it to take effect. So when we talk about Medicare Part B, they break it down into different pieces for whatever reason. I'm not quite sure it's funded differently by the government, Part A and Part B, but Part B covers most of the things that are going to come up in your healthcare. The only thing it really doesn't cover is room and board for inpatient hospital admission. So when you're admitted to the hospital, the room and board charge is covered by Medicare Part A. That can be really expensive, obviously, but everything else is covered under Medicare Part B. Doctor's services, specialist services, outpatient care, everything that comes along normally in your healthcare is covered under Medicare Part B. So we need to understand exactly how it functions. So understand, first of all, it's a trigger when you come into Medicare. So when you start Medicare Part B, it kind of like opens up Medicare, and it gives you options and rights to choose things without any medical questions when you first come into Medicare by initiating Medicare Part B. So it's important that we do it when we're supposed to do it. So typically when you're turning 65, if you're going to come into Medicare, and certainly not everybody does at age 65, that's when you're going to start your Medicare Part B. And again, it gives you this open window to pick your plans that you want, things without having questions asked and maybe being prevented from choosing. You have this open window. So we want to make sure it's done at the appropriate time. If you're going to stay at work and stay on an employer group coverage plan, a real health insurance plan at work, your employer has 20 or more employees, you do not want to start Medicare Part B because first off, it won't provide any benefit to you. It has a premium, so it costs money. And then later when you retire and come off of your group health insurance, it's going to act like you just turned 65 when you start your Medicare Part B. So do not start Medicare Part B if you're going to stay at work on a group insurance plan with an employer that has 20 or more employees. It's called creditable coverage. You will need to show that later. I certainly have videos on staying at work and how to do it when it's time to come in. Make sure you take a look for that and it'll walk you right through it. But Medicare Part B plays a big part when you come into Medicare. So let's kind of get into what Medicare Part B covers and how much it costs and all that. And there are some surprises in here. I can promise you there will be some people that will be shocked with the cost for their Medicare Part B. I'm going to go through that pretty clearly so that we understand it. So, because we don't want any surprises as we come along. So Medicare Part B, again, covers stuff outside of room and board in the hospital. So it covers all your doctor stuff, which is terrific. It does have a premium. The premium right now is about $185. This premium, it's monthly, typically goes up a few dollars, sometimes a little more than other times each year, but we don't have any control over that. They make that decision every year on how much it's going to rise. Not long ago it was about $140. Now it's $185. So it does go up. So we need to certainly understand that. And then it's also, and here's the surprise, income adjusted. So if you are continuing to have income, you likely will pay more for your Medicare Part B than that $185. And this is called IRMA. It's income related monthly adjustment amount. And it can raise that Medicare Part B pretty significantly. So when we look at the numbers on IRMA and how it works, so the baseline number for that Part B premium is $185. And to have that baseline premium, you can make in income up to $106,000 individually or $212,000 if you're filing jointly. So if you make below that amount, in income, and again, a lot of us will be retired, but not all of us. A lot of us will still have income coming in. You might be self-employed and you will continue to have self-employment income come in. You may sell a house and have capital gains. You may have stock purchases that you sell. Whatever comes in and it falls to modified adjusted gross income, you might want to talk to your accountant on things that you are going to be doing that will fall into that category. But basically your taxable income is going to affect your Medicare Part B premium. And again, up to the 106 single, 212 joint is the baseline. And now where they're going to look at this information of income, also another really big surprise, 2 years ago. Because they don't have access. They're going to take it off your taxes and they can only see tax information from 2 years ago. So if you made income 2 years ago, it will affect your Medicare Part B premium this year going forward. So certainly it's complicated and can actually surprise in a very negative way, especially if you had significant income, and we'll go through some of the numbers. So if you cross that bridge of 106,212, it can go up to 133 single, 206. In that category, it's going to make your Medicare Part B premium $259. So from the 185 to 259, so it just went up $74 a month for your Medicare Part B premium. The next line stops at 167 single, 334 joint. If you're in that window, it's going to make your Medicare Part B $370 a month. So you went from 185 to 370, it doubled your Medicare Part B premium. I mean, it really is shocking when you get there if you're not expecting this to go from 185 to double it. And again, this can be for you and your spouse, so double that double, and it really can take a chunk of income out of what you were expecting to have during your retirement. Now this caps out, there's a couple more windows in there, but it caps out at $500,000 single, 750 joint, so that didn't even double. The other categories double from single to joint, so this is 750 joint. If you make in excess of $500,000 single, 750 joint, again, it's a lot of money, but for a lot, it's not a lot of money. And again, if you had a big scenario like selling a home or something during the year, you could reach that, without that much trouble getting there. It would raise that Medicare Part B premium to get this, $628 a month. So it's going to raise the premium $443 a month if you are above that 500 single, 750 joint income level. So again, big surprise, not much control we have over it. It's a 2-year look back. So a lot of people ask, so if I had it the 1 year, what will happen? It would only affect your premium for 1 year. So the amount of time that you have the income level of whatever it is affects the same amount of time of premium, even though it's a 2-year look back. So it's very complicated. It can be appealed. There is an appeal form on my website, MedicareOnVideo.com. You go to the guides and forms. There's a whole brochure on how to appeal and what to appeal if you're not making now what you made then. It just can get crazy. And another thing to understand about Medicare Part B premium is it comes out of your Social Security check. If you are taking Social Security, it's going to come out of your Social Security check. If you are not taking Social Security, they're going to send you a bill. And when they send you a bill, it's going to be quarterly. So you're going to pay 3 months at a time for the Medicare Part B. So let's assume you're in that maximum income level and you're paying $600+ a month for you and your spouse. So now we're up to $1,200–1,300 a month. And then the bill comes quarterly. You need to understand that, and you need to be prepared for that, because again, it is what it is. There's no way around it if you're in Medicare. And some people think if you choose Medicare Advantage, you're not going to pay this Medicare Part B premium. You absolutely will pay the Medicare Part B premium in either case, no matter which way you go in Medicare. So important to understand that. So that's just a big whammy on the premium to begin with. Let's talk now about the out-of-pocket costs with Medicare Part B. So Medicare Part B, it's pretty simple. It's kind of like old-time insurance. It has a deductible and then it has co-insurance. And then you're responsible for the deductible and paying your part of the co-insurance. So right now it has a deductible, and it's an annual deductible. It's only once a year of $257. Very small deductible, no real big deal. And certainly probably a lot less than what you've had in previous health insurance coming from work. And then co-insurance, Medicare pays 80%, you're responsible for 20%. So you have a $257 deductible, and then you're responsible for 20% of whatever happens outside of the hospital room and board. That's a whole different piece under Medicare Part A, which we can get into in a different video, but Part B, it's 80-20 for all the stuff that happens outside of that hospital admission. So that's really not terrible. The problem with it is the 20% doesn't have any maximum limit. So it doesn't have any stop to it. So you could have a catastrophic event and that 20% could be significant. If you had $1 million in charges, your share would be 200,000. So we certainly wouldn't want that. So you're going to likely make a decision of either going into a Medicare Advantage plan or having a Medicare supplement plan. I certainly have videos on the differences between the two. I certainly have opinions, very strong opinions, where I would not choose a Medicare Advantage plan pretty much under just about any circumstance. I would do whatever I could to stay on original Medicare. It just gives you all the control, flexibility. You don't have to worry about networks of doctors and hospitals and pre-authorization, all sorts of stuff. Just, it makes life easy to stay with original Medicare and get things done the way you want them to get done. You'll likely have a Medicare supplement, a Plan G or a Plan N. Plan G covers everything out of pocket on Part A and Part B, with the exception of the $257 deductible. So if you have original Medicare A and B and a supplement Plan G, your maximum out of pocket for the year is $257. I mean, that's kind of ridiculous that it's that good a coverage going forward, and it gives you the freedom to go to any doctor, any hospital, anywhere you want. So it's very good coverage when we set it up correctly, and that's what we do. We make sure that we get you set up correctly, timely, when it's supposed to happen, licensed in all 50 states. So I've helped more than 10,000 people. I'm happy to help you. There's no cost to you to allow us to help you. Whatever insurance carrier that we choose, they pay me a little to be your service agent now and in the future. So you'll also have me there as a resource, as things change in the future, to make sure that we stay on top of it and get it right. But this gives you a pretty clear overview of Medicare Part B. And if you want to get a quote on a Medicare supplement plan so you can see what it costs, just visit my website, MedicareOnVideo.com. Give us a call. We'll walk right through it. We'll just make sure that you get the best value going forward. So Part B, not too complicated as long as we understand it. The other parts can make it a little more complicated, so we just want to make sure that we get it right. Hope you found this helpful. Have a fantastic day.